Lord, for those who protect us, the military, Lord, our local law enforcement, first responders, folks, those who keep an eye on us, stand between us and danger. We're thankful.
Yes, Lord.
God, this time I ask a special prayer for our leaders. Guide them to lead with all wisdom and knowledge and in ways that will benefit our town, our community, citizens, ways that we will be better people and High Springs will be a better place to live. Thank you for all that you do for us each and every day. Be with us always. Help us to love one another more every day. In your Son, we pray.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Spivey. Jenny?
Mayor Jones?
Here.
Vice Mayor Williams?
Here.
Commissioner Jennings?
Here.
Commissioner Jameson?
Here.
Commissioner Ladden?
Here.
And we need the approval of the agenda, but there has been an addition for the approval of bid for the construction of the new ADA compliant restroom building at Civic Center Park. So we're going to add that.
So I'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda with the addition of the additional item for the approval of a bid for construction of a ADA compliant restroom in Civic Center Park.
Second the motion.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Approval of the agenda has been passed. The minutes of December 13th.
I will make a motion that the minutes from December 13th be approved.
I'll second that motion.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of December 13th, 2018. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Approval has been passed. Citizen requests and comments. For issues not on the agenda, please state your name for the record. Limit comments to 5 minutes.
David Lynch, L-I-N-C-H. I would like to speak to two separate points. In the last meeting, Mr. Booth said that Ross lives on 7th Avenue. So he's using the old address system. So Mr. Booth is a leader in the community. So by using the old address system, he is in effect recommending that we go back to the old address system. My second point is that when the city commission allows alcoholic beverages at the First Friday event, they are supporting and condoning by the power of the state something that kills over 1,000 people each week.
Thank you, Mr. Lynch. Yes, come on up.
My name is Jerry Wakefield. I'm the owner and operator of the diner, formerly known as Floyd's Diner, on Highway 441. I just have one basic question for the forum here tonight. I'd just like to take you back quickly to the events of June 29th and July 7th. This is back in 2017, where Messrs. Windstream and their subcontractor Trawick managed to burst your water main. Two separate occasions. Having mended it, they went and broke it again. We were requested, for those who suffered any form of loss, financial loss, to make a claim. And initially we were told by the city manager that a claims form would be readily available at reception. Well, I attempted this 4 times and without success, and then in the end I was told that that it was shifting sands and the legality had changed somewhat, and that we would be advised accordingly. On the 13th of July, I submitted my claim to this authority, and what I want to know is 18 months on, as of 4 o'clock this afternoon, I didn't know that you'd even received my claim and that anything had been done about it. I've tried very hard to procure this without success. So my question is, which I'm happy to leave with you, why has it taken 18 months for a small businessman to be able to come forward? And I'm having to come forward because no action had been taken. Okay?
Thank you.
So I'm going to either leave it with you or I could ask for a response.
Shall we just discuss it later? Yes, we'll leave it and get back with you.
Can I ask for a timescale on that? Because I've been waiting 18 months.
I'll have to ask the finance director, but we are talking about Windstream. It's a large corporation. You know, it's like me going to battle with AT&T. I haven't been very successful either. So, you know, these large corporations are like shifting sands, but we will stay with it.
Can I just respond quickly to that? What I would say to you all is, within this forum, my contract is with the City of High Springs. It's not with Windstream or their subcontractor or whatever. So just like I have to carry insurance, you guys have to carry insurance. So for me, my beef is with the city, unfortunately, albeit that it wasn't your fault. Okay? So, but I would like some definite date whereby I'm going to get some response. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name's Alton Hale. I live here in High Springs, and the reason I come to the meeting here tonight is regards to nuisance trees or dead trees in High Springs. There are numerous ones. One is actually located next to my commercial property. It's about to fall at any time. It's up to the property owner to get a permit to remove a tree. That's the person who has to get it done. I go down to City Hall and ask, can I cut this tree? And that's, no, you're not the owner. Well, what are you to do? You wait for the tree to fall on something? I don't know that answer. It's a safety concern, okay? There's kids that walk across that lot every day, go to school. There's people that walk their dogs on that lot. It's not my lot that they're walking on the dogs, but they can walk on my lot anytime. But there's trees hanging down. If you was to be walking along that walkway, you better be looking up because you could be struck. I'm surprised that there's no ordinance or anything in the city of High Springs that has to do with nuisance or dead trees. You know, I think it's up to the property owner to take care of their property, not allow it to fall somewhere else. So I can recall back several years ago over at the water tower, maybe some of y'all can remember that, the lady over there complained about the nuisance tree, and what happened? The tree fell and killed her. Some of you might recall that. So that's all I got to say about the trees. I think it's something you need to look into before somebody gets hurt. Thank you so much.
Madam Mayor, I'll turn this into code enforcement.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? I will then close the citizen requests and we'll move on to new business. Consider Resolution 2019A.
Madam Mayor, Resolution number 2019A, a resolution of the City of High Springs, Florida, determining and declaring certain real property as surplus located in the City of High Springs, Florida, and authorizing the city manager to dispose of said property through a sealed bid competitive process, repealing all resolutions in conflict, and establishing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass the resolution by reading of title only.
This is a piece of property we just received. It has a trailer on it. I believe the lady came up here and said there was a lot of snakes in that. Well, the county finally gave it to us. We're now putting it as surplus. We will probably get rid of the trailer in the next 30 days and then try to clean up the land. She indicated she wanted to buy it, but I'm not sure that's the case, but it will be available.
Is it a trailer or the mobile home that's burned out, or the RV that's burned out? Do you know if, I'm not sure which one this is.
I'm not sure either.
Okay, just curious.
I'm not sure, but she said it was a trailer.
There's one with an old
Yeah.
trailer, and there's
Yeah.
one with an RV that's burned out,
Uh-huh.
the carcass of the
I think
RV
it's a
sitting on the
trailer.
wall. So,
The resolution says that the property is going to be disposed of through a sealed bid competitive process. So I'm assuming that we're going to get it, why would we clean the property if you're going to get rid of it in a sealed process? Why would we incur the cost of cleaning it up if you're going to turn around and sell it?
Well, it's a nuisance.
No, I'm just asking the process here so I understand. It says obviously it's a competitive product like we did on the other lots. I'm just curious as to what is required. Are we required to clean the lot, or do we sell it and that's part of the process to get rid of it?
Many of the other lots we did clean before we sold.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then that's fine. I just want to do it, but it is a sealed bid. So is there a time frame on this one, how we do this? I mean, a sealed bid process? I mean, I'm just
Well,
curious.
it'll take time to clean up
Right.
and, before July.
No, I understand
Yeah.
it's a process. I just don't want it sitting there
No,
and 6 months from now, we're still waiting.
well, it's been there, 20 years.
6 months from now, we're still waiting to clean it.
No,
That's all
no,
I'm
we
saying.
won't do that. We are actually going out for bids
Okay.
next week and cleaning up 9 of them, and maybe we'll put this one on that.
it's in the paper today, the request
was
for,
it?
it was in the Alachua today.
Oh, gee.
Today,
Well,
I saw it in the paper today.
then-
Question, this lot couldn't be part of that redevelopment plan?
Sure
with
could.
the
Yeah.
With the Douglas lots, because I know one of the things that I heard Gary say, and I know NHDC is like, the more lots that they have to work with, then the more financially
Right.
viable it is for them.
Right.
And Patricia Gardens is literally, back to
Right,
back
right,
with
right.
Douglas neighborhood. And part of the area that we have as a potential for that expansion of the CRA, when that company came in and did the study, they included that because they said it was so diminished, equally diminished, and felt that needed to be part of the CRA. So I'm just curious.
Sure it can. This is just the first process,
Mhm.
is we got it, then we make it surplus, then we can do with it what we want, or what the council.
But it's asking us to authorize you dispose of it. So if we're going to keep it as part of the redevelopment, we wouldn't want to dispose of it.
Well, we would dispose of it in that manner. So, because if we put it in the redevelopment, then we are disposing of all those lots.
Okay.
It's just semantics, really, but yeah. And trust me, nobody's going to buy it.
I'm concerned with the language. I hear what you're saying, and I'm with you. But it says we're going to dispose of it through a sealed bid competitive process.
Right.
That's a very specific process. That's not putting in with the group of Waycorp. I'm just saying, so I don't know what we got to do.
Well, those lots too would have to be disposed of in a sealed bid.
Agreed.
So what we're doing is really just claiming this as surplus and allowing us to dispose of that land, in any kind of manner, really.
But we didn't
But
keep,
if we're going to sell it, it has to be sealed bids.
Right, if we want to sell it, but if we
Yes.
want to add this to those 9 lots and make it a 10 lot, you know, that's where I'm confused.
Well, the 9 lots came with the same thing. They were surplus, and then they required us to sell them by bids. Well, we couldn't sell, and so they just sit there.
So Rich, there's no time frame, and I get where Mr. Booth's coming, there's no time frame, but we would have to understand that when this lot came around, it would have to be through a sealed process.
Right,
That's
there
what
is,
we're
there
saying.
is no time frame. There should be a surplus policy that the city has adopted in the past, and that would generally be the process. And I'm sure it talks about the sealed bid process, but in terms of when to put it up for bid, there's not going to be a deadline per se. Once the city commission, enacts this resolution, the city manager does have some discretion as far as how to do those things, get it ready to go through the process.
No, I get that, I'm just saying, so ultimately, at some point in time, the process, and I know Jenny, I don't know if you were gonna say something, if that's what you were gonna say. Right,
Right.
agreed. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2019.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve resolution 2019A as read.
Mayor Jones,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Grant,
Yes.
Mr. Jameson,
Yes.
Commissioner Lively,
Yes.
The resolution passes 5-0. Next item is discuss including elected officials in the Florida retirement system.
This was brought up at the last meeting, and we put that on the agenda. There was a request that the commissioners be part of the retirement system. That's
Okay.
all I have.
Did you find out if it can be
Okay.
done?
Did you get to
It
me?
can be done.
It can be done. But we need to see who lists the officials. Who do we need to see?
First of all, you need to say you would like to do that. And then we'll take the individuals who want to be part of it. And then it's my understanding that the city is not going to contribute. This is only individuals that would like to take part and put money in. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Well, I had called the Division of Retirement, and I spoke to them, and they said that we can do that for an elected official. We'd have to do 2 ordinances to say that we want the elected officials included, and then we'd have to do another ordinance to say which seats are included. There's different ways to do. You don't have to pay the retirement on your salary. You can just include them on the report, and that allows them to accumulate the time. But some cities have done it both ways. They include them on the reports, and they include them in the retirement system, so they get the time, but they don't pay it. And then some cities actually do pay the retirement based on the salary. But elected officials are totally separate than employees.
So I was one that brought this up, and the reason I brought it up is often elected officials are self-employed people, and this would give them the opportunity to get credible service time. And I've spoken to 2 different people in 2 different cities who, one of them, he retired and has a pension check because he served for many years in the city and was able to build that retirement through FRS. So that was my interest, being self-employed. That has been a challenge for me through all those years. Having that retirement, and it would add serviceable years to some time I already have in FRS. But I'm not the only person that's self-employed that has ever been on this board. So I think it would be incentive, and as long as there's no cost to the city, if I bore the burden of that cost, or any elected official who wanted to participate, I think that it would be an advantage that might entice someone to want to additionally run for office because there could be some benefit to them in the long run for security. So that was my reason for asking about that.
So do we need to do?
Well,
What I would suggest is that if this is something the commission is interested in, maybe if we might entertain a motion to direct the city attorney to take a look at some of these issues and come back and report on this at the next meeting. I did have an opportunity to speak with Jenny a little bit about this today, and I've started putting in some phone calls of some other cities who we believe have this type of setup. And so we want to learn a little bit more from them about that. And obviously with the FRS, we have a call into them as well. So I think we need to gather a little bit more information on this. If the commission is inclined to further explore it, we would be happy to do that, and probably follow up with Jenny and Commissioner Laven about this. Get some of the information that they've gathered, folks that they've spoken with.
Yeah, because I'd have to do some more before I can say yes. So, I just belong to that.
Well, it wouldn't be a requirement.
No, I know. I mean, the idea in itself.
Okay. So, can we just ask the attorney to go to get more information for us?
Absolutely.
I mean, do we have to put that to a vote?
No, not necessarily, unless everybody is thoroughly convinced that that's what needs to happen. Otherwise, we'll just look into it. We'll report.
Well, why don't we put it to a vote then and see if there's any. Does anybody want to put it in the form of a motion?
So I have to ask a question. If we do a vote, should I recuse myself from voting because I would be directly affected and I was the person that requested it? Is that okay?
No, I don't think so.
It's not
because
to
in this
benefit
case,
you.
it potentially impacts
Okay.
everybody.
I just want to make sure because I don't want to do anything wrong, and you got to keep me from doing anything wrong.
And we're
That's
not
your
making.
job.
And again, the motion is not to.
Right, not to. Okay. So I'll make a motion that we direct the attorney to further investigate having the commission be part of FRS and bring it back to us at the next meeting.
I'll second that.
It has been moved and seconded that we direct the city attorney to come back to us with more information on the Florida retirement system for elected officials. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 5-0. The next item is consider preliminary approval for Peyton Reserve.
yes, ma'am. According to our land development code, paragraph 22-21, this has gone to the Planning and Zoning Board with their approval. And then the process is this is a preliminary approval. And what that does is it allows the developer to build the roads, build the infrastructure, and then once the city approves it, then he comes back for a final plat approval and builds the houses. They have already put up a 110% bond against this infrastructure. So this is the proper way of doing it, and this is the way the Land Development Code requires it. There's only about, you have a map, 20-some homes there, so it's not a very large subdivision. And it's located over on 202, over on the east side.
Down from your place?
Right,
Across the
right
street?
across the street.
Across the street. And these are half-acre lots. It looks like there's 34 lots here.
Mm-hmm.
We have water and sewer there?
You do?
And it's gone through all the permitting and.
It has.
Okay.
and I'll have, the building department.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
Commissioners,
Right.
City Manager, this is a project that we've been working on, oh golly, almost a year now. And it's gone through all the review processes with the City of High Springs, successfully, I might add. And it has been vested by Swanee River for stormwater. All of it's been completed. It's not a very big subdivision, as the city manager explained. It's 34 lots, 38 lots, 34 lots. This will be a subdivision that they will be developing this under our site improvement permit that you all approved when, I don't remember, 6 months ago, 8 months ago. The process of the development they will have ongoing inspections, and we've laid guidelines out to the developer of when the inspections are going to be for all the infrastructure as it goes through. Normally in a development like this, if it goes well, Mr. Booth and I were talking, and we like to let the developer possibly put up a model home when he gets 40% complete, when he's in there with his infrastructure, so he can start marketing. But staff supports this. They have complied with everything we've asked for, and it's up to you guys. Any questions?
Any answer to the process? We want to make sure we don't have recurring issues.
Right.
Commissioner, let me explain something.
He's the building official now. It won't happen.
I'm not going to live through that again. Okay? No, this is a bonded project, and again, the city came up with new SIPs, site improvement permit. I sat down and explained to the applicant of what our expectations and what our goals are. They understand it. We move forward. If they don't perform, we exercise the bond, we stop and go from there. But no, sir. No more of that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we need to approve the preliminary plat.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct?
I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary plat for Peyton Preserve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the plat for Peyton Preserve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Are these the gentlemen?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And they had charts and everything.
Doggone.
We didn't make you work.
An engineer comes to me either totally prepared or nothing.
Thank you. All right.
Next item, discussion of impact fees in regard to poverty level guidelines.
Yes, ma'am. It comes at a good time because the first meeting in February, I'm going to ask the council to direct the engineers to to update the impact fees because we need to do some change and in that process they need to do a slight study. But in the impact fees, the wording is so vague about what constitutes a poverty level that I think the finance would like to talk about the specificity of the items that go in there.
That was a nice word.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Alright, so there's something called federal guidelines,
Right.
and there's something called a sliding scale.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm gonna give each one of you
I'm telling
the
you.
guidelines. These
He
are
so screwed that
2018,
up.
19.
He has
Thank you.
So, in some instances, how it's done, so you're 100% here on your sliding scale, that is the poverty level. So somebody can be 25% of poverty, so means they're 75% down. So this is the very, basically the very poor. starting at the bottom. And
I
then
will never
100%,
take
that
it
is,
again.
and these are the number of families, or
Number of
people in
people.
families.
Right. And I finally said it.
So, we had the lady that came about her family that, about wanting a reduction, and we had no means to actually,
Yes, I've got it.
we had no means to really say what kind of discount we wanted to give. And so the sliding scale kind of outlines very clearly what income is. And so what you can do is whatever your cost is, say it's your impact fee, then you can actually step. So if I'm at 125% of poverty, I may only pay this amount. You actually build a sliding scale based on their income, and they would have to actually approve of income to get a reduction. So when we had talked about it, I had said we would bring something back for you. This is what kind of the norm is when you're dealing with you're dealing with people that want to do a discount for somebody. Usually use the poverty guidelines, and then that's sliding scale.
So there's two questions that I had. Can you bring us or give us a price of what the actual cost is for us to run the infrastructure for a grinder pump and then gravity feed and then run the infrastructure for water lines? Because
we can do it. We can do that, yes.
Okay.
But instead of having all those scenarios, we would recommend that you tell us the percentages. So whatever the cost is of what, because it could be impact fees, it could be the grinder pump, it could be a connection to the sewer, a connection to the water. Instead of saying, okay, on this one we do this, is use percentages.
and do you recover just the cost is what I'm asking you? The standard impact fee?
No. When you do this, sometimes you absorb costs.
No, I know that. I'm saying currently. Let's go to currently.
Right now, we don't have anything.
Right.
So when Mr. Booth came up with something, we kind of broke even kind of. But to be honest, that family did not meet the guidelines.
Right, but what I'm asking is, I need to know the cost to the city to determine where that break point, how much we're going to absorb based on this income sliding scale that we want to establish. You know, I need to know how much is it going to cost us each time that we say, okay, if you're at 100% poverty level, we're going to charge 50% of the impact fee. Well, I need to know, are we committing $6,000 that the city's got to come up with to pay for infrastructure to that house? You know, do you understand what I'm trying to say?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. What we're doing is the impact fee really doesn't have to do with the cost of the city. The impact fee has to do with the cost to the city later on. And in the case of the sewer, it has to do with the expansion of the sewer plant. You have to have a specific reason to do an impact fee. Now, when somebody requires a grinder pump, there is a cost to the city directly. And like the lady that came in here and said that it was too expensive and that, well, we actually found out that she had been on the plans to get there, to get one, and then she just got skipped and skipped and skipped. So we put it in at our cost. Instead of adding the impact fees and everything, we just charged her the exact amount that it cost. And that amount turned out to be $7,000. Every one is a little different because of the proximity to the sewer lines and where you have to put it and everything else. So one figure just doesn't fit a lot. But what we're doing now is we're no longer putting in grinder pumps. We're really on projects to take everybody off their septic system. And that's where we're at now, and we do charge them the impact fees, but none of the other costs. So all they do is provide money to upgrade sewer plant. And in the ensuing months where I get the council to ask Midtower to review the impact fees and to update them as needed, that's where we're at.
And right now, we have all these people that are coming on the sewer system. And so actually, the majority of what would apply to this is the impact fees. You know, yes, we did have that situation there, but very rarely do we have somebody come in and say, grind it up. Right now, we're getting people that say, I can't afford the impact fees.
Right.
Now, if we could give them, based on the guidelines, a discount, and then let them pay that over the 3 years.
So the other question is, in the meeting we had yesterday, Bill was there, is in this redevelopment area, this thing that we're trying to do for affordable housing, a substantial number of the people that will be housed in those affordable homes will be people that would fall within some sort of poverty guidelines.
Absolutely.
And so that was one of the questions is, you know, can we work with these agencies that are coming to us? Because if we can cut down that cost, they pass that cost on to those consumers. And so I had said that I would bring that up in this discussion tonight because, you know, when they're looking at, did you say it was $12,000 approximately? A $12,000 impact fee, these affordable housing people are like, we can't do affordable housing when we have to add $12,000 on the cost of the house just for the impact fees, not counting the permit fees, you know, so.
Well, no, the impact fees wouldn't be 12,000, but the grinder pump, because in that particular area, grinder pumps are the only thing that's available. And so I think, you know, at the cost and everything, grinder pumps would probably be about $9,000, and then you add the impact fees on top of that, then it gets you closer to $12,000. What this does is it allows the finance department to then determine if you're going to go into an affordable housing and your income level is 50% of what the normal is, then she can just run down there and say, okay, this is what it costs you. The city is going to absorb 50% of the cost, and you're going to pay the other 50%. And that gives her some legal rights to do that, because right now, we're just really kind of using the vague language of affordable, and what we're trying to do is bring the specificity, like that word. What's enough? I'm sorry.
He mastered it. He wants to use
Thank
it.
you. To do that, and that's really what we're doing is giving the finance department the legal right to determine what you want to do is to give them credit.
I think this is a wonderful way to do it because it's very clear that, you know, if you fall within these guidelines, then you're eligible for this. How would that translate when it's like NHDC coming to Jennifer for some sort of abatement on the impact fee? How would that work? Because if they don't have the home buyer in place yet, how would that translate?
Yeah, I guess they would know pretty much what their market was.
Could we do a rebate system where if they put somebody in the home and they were at, you know,
If they were buying the home, I would think we could.
Sure. Based on the
whatever the formula is.
That's right.
Because they said in Gainesville they have some sort of rebate system where if they put somebody in there, then they can go back and get some sort of rebate on
Certainly.
the fees that were paid. So.
And most people are doing it over time anyway, so that they probably would.
Question. This only applies to the impact fee. I want to make sure we clarify, because this has nothing to do with you're paying a full boat for the grinder. This solely is for the impact fee.
That
Right.
was mine. That's what the only thing that the poverty guidelines deal with the impact.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, 'cause that's what it says here, but it sounded like when you were doing it, I wanted to make sure, because we have to buy the grinder pot. The impact fees we can play with, because we're not putting money out. Okay.
Yes, this is something, and the reason, you could do something with this, because as Mr. Booth said, it affects the future.
Right.
But
Agreed, I just want to make sure we understand that. This isn't somebody's coming and getting 50% off the total price of the grinder and anything else. Let me tell you what, you'd have quite a few homeowners a little upset if somebody was getting.
This is for all these, we get it, right now we're getting it. We have 100 and, I don't know how many customers we have, and we've hooked up 125.
Yes.
So, we want to be able to meet the guidelines, we'd like to be able to help them.
Right. And that's right now.
And when we're
This
not
is
even,
happening as we speak.
right, and we haven't even got to phase 2 or 3.
Oh, Christina?
I was gonna stick, we're talking about for HGC and folks. There's something in the, under sector, I think it's Division 4, Section 78, that says that a developer doing affordable housing can get an exemption. So that's separate from that, so that wouldn't affect that.
I think we're right now only looking at the situation where we're connecting on the really the gravity-fed sewer right now, because that is doing with 120, or actually 150 homes. And then phase 2 will be 150, and then phase 3 will be 125, and just.
Have you looked at what other cities are doing as far as the discount or at poverty level or anything like that?
No, this is standard. This is the federal guidelines. This is.
I understand that, but what percentage discount of their impact fees? Do you know?
No, I have not.
Okay.
This is discussion.
Okay.
I would bring back to the commission the actual slide scale, which has the values of what people would pay. Recommendation. This,
So you want to bring something back with actual numbers and how would it
yes, but
impact the deal?
this was to be a discussion of what this.
We wanted to do it.
It's just hard for us, when you have somebody come in, we have no thing to say, everybody's on fixed income. The reality is, every one of us are on fixed income. Some of them are just higher or lower than us. And so, and it's really hard when you have somebody that you cannot help them. You know good and well, you see they're struggling month after month to pay their bill. We know downstairs, they know that, that need the most help. So this offers us the ability to do that.
Okay.
So do we need a motion?
This is just discussion. I
No,
guess.
there's no motion, because they're not doing anything.
Right. For you to come back with us for more
I'll bring
definitive.
numbers back.
Okay. Anybody else?
We want to be very specific when we do this thing, if we go there, and I agree, I think there needs to be some guidelines, so it's not a subjective decision on your part, where somebody come back and say, well, you gave them this amount, why can't I get this? I think but I think the language we need to get around to, it needs to be very specific when we write it, that there has to be some very specific language as to how this applies and what it specifically applies to.
Sure.
There can't be a window to where somebody can come in, pardon the deal, or somebody come in and you can branch this out. I'm just saying, it needs to be a very tight window, because understand, other people are paying.
Yeah, I know.
We're a generous society. We're generous people. We have no issue. I'm going to talk, and I apologize with helping people out. We also got to make darn sure that it's not taken advantage of.
Right.
So you better write something good.
What I'm envisioning is we put together.
It's up to you.
Right. I'm envisioning we put together a resolution that will have an attachment to it. Before your comments, I was thinking it'd be more in the form of a policy, but we'd have to take a look at that because policy may not trigger the word specificity as much as you want. But the other thing we're obviously going to have to look at too is the impact fee ordinance, which is very lengthy, and there's language in there about refunds and a process for refunds. You have to petition and things like that. So whatever we draft up, we need to make sure we're either not contradicting what the ordinance says or we're amending the ordinance. So.
Well said.
The doing part's going to be much more difficult.
Okay, I think we can move on to discussion on current cemetery rules for the High Springs cemeteries.
Absolutely. The rules are very vague, and we do a lot of extrapolating on the cemetery. The one cemetery is about to become full, and so there are individuals who have bought lots that are not occupied yet, but for new people coming in, this cemetery is pretty full. The other cemetery, not quite there. We have larger areas that we can expand, and I will now turn it over to our good council member.
Yeah. Well, the reason I actually, this really needs to be revised. It's July the 10th, 1969.
Yes, yeah. I was impressed with that.
This really needs to be revised.
Oh, I absolutely agree.
I read one section in there, in which most funeral home directors don't like doing. That thing say funeral home director must purchase the lots.
Oh, really?
Yes. So this thing really needs to be revised.
Yeah.
Agreed. And then the question, do we put it underground or above ground?
Yeah, I don't know much about it. So.
And see, in most cases, why Forest Mills or some other big lots up there, they put them all below ground.
Mm-hmm.
The reason for that is it's easy to maintain.
It is.
Yeah.
It allows us to mow and take care of it.
So what we need to revise is because some are putting them above ground. I'm talking new, not the old kind here, but in the new lot. Some funeral homes don't know. So do we tell them? Cause I don't see it in here, to be honest with you. It's not here.
No, we usually give the rules to the person who purchases the lot, and that's usually a family member.
Right.
They might not send that to the funeral.
Yeah, then we do. Now, I'm not sure we allow mausoleums, which are above ground, but we do though.
Well, it says it in the ordinance at least.
But you don't stop that, though. That's what we do.
Yeah, that's what you want to do. But I'm not going to be here.
Mausoleum.
You're going to have to go to somebody else.
But this needs to be revived because I was looking at it and.
Oh, 50 years.
Yeah.
Every 50?
Yeah, I would think.
And I know Jenny's had a lot of problems with flowers and shrubs
No,
and
we
plants and trees and.
It would be beneficial to staff and everybody to have these updated. And I have already been working on that.
Mm-hmm.
I've printed out several rules, cemetery rules from other cities who have municipal cemeteries. And the majority of them have what we have in ours. I mean, they're updated. But it's basically the same basic rules, but ours do need to be updated.
I would agree from the city attorney's perspective that there's a lot of work that needs to be done on it. The date obviously was a major concern when I saw that. But beyond that, I do think it's going to be important to get a sense of what other communities are doing, but then also what does the commission want, because I do think it is done differently in different locations. For instance, one thing I found confusing throughout the ordinance is what's the distinction between a lot, a grave, and a space. They seem to be overlapping, used interchangeably, and that's a problem because in one section it will say one body per grave. So what does that mean if I have a lot?
That was actually.
Can I put two graves on the lot? you know, so there's a lot of,
That was actually updated in resolutions for the price for the cemetery lots.
Okay.
Space, whatever you want to call it. But yes, it does define the space. It's 5 by 15, and it defines the cremain spaces also.
Okay.
We did that whenever they set the prices.
and then as we were driving over here, Andrea and I were talking with Mr. Walker on the phone, and he pointed out that in New Orleans, they have multiple bodies in one grave.
Right.
So it comes down to what's our goal, what are we trying to achieve in some cases, what's the preference of the commission on these types of things.
And that girl keep asking, can we have it placed on top of something?
And we looked at making people be buried standing. No, they do that. Many, especially in Europe.
What specificity are they still
Well, they have to tie you there.
I don't need to.
Well, and the other thing, honestly, I buried my mother's ashes in her mother's grave, you know, and put a footstone, and it says in here there's no more than one stone, but, you know, that's a common practice too when you have a family plot. So it's not clear in this. I know someone who bought a grave here recently to put 3 family members' ashes in, because that's when I got to read the ordinance, because she called me and wasn't happy with an answer she had gotten. And I read the ordinance and said, it says the supervisor decides everything. So the supervisor is the one. We just have to figure out who the supervisor is.
We don't have one.
And I decided Jenny was the supervisor.
But you can put more than, you can put up to 3 cremains in one space. And that's why this needs to be updated too, because it doesn't address the monuments for that. It only says you're allowed to have 1. But if you have 3 cremains, usually what people do is to put 3 on the same thing. And you can put 1 body in 1 cremain also. But one of the other cities allowed up to 6 cremains per space. And their spaces were a lot smaller than ours.
Doesn't take much.
No.
Alice Gus?
Can I say something on this issue? Because I have a different problem altogether. Totally. A couple of weeks or so ago, I was asked to go out there because they wanted to be a burial out there. And we went out to take a look, but there was no grave out there. And so I called and I asked, and they told me to just tell them to go ahead and dig a hole and put the body in there. What kind of answer is that?
Is this the old section?
Yeah.
We don't monitor the old section, and there's some.
I understand it, but there's got to be something better than that.
We could just make there's some that still owns family plots in there, and they say they have spaces, but we don't have anything on that. When we took over the back section of it, and that's why we have a map, and each one has a
But
space.
even in the front section, you got to have a grave, don't you?
Well, there's some, I believe, on top of each other there.
Please?
Okay.
Because that blew my mind. Please help me.
If Chestnut come over here, if Duncan come over here, some other guy, they're going to call me first.
Okay.
They used to call me Sped. I don't know if they're still calling you now. They used to call me first in the old section.
Okay.
Because most people got their own lot.
Okay.
My family got their lot.
Right.
You can't put a Davis over there.
Right. I know, because we got ours too.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's why most funeral homes need to know. They need to contact somebody in High Spring, or they just come over in High Spring. Because that'll happen to several times with some families. If Chestnut come over here, Duncan come over here, and the family say, I want to put him right there. But it might be in my family lot. That's why they need to call someone before they come over here.
All right, I understand that part, Byron. You got to find the right spot to put them in.
Right.
But whatever spot you pick, you got to have a grave.
True. There ain't no grave. You can't do
That's
that.
what I'm saying. There was no grave out there. I was not talking about the spot. There was no grave. And that's what blew my mind. They say, well, just tell them, dig a hole and put them where they want it. And that just didn't make any sense to me.
Who's responsible for digging the hole?
Really?
Who's responsible for?
The funeral home is responsible.
The funeral home comes out and opens the grave and creates the opening for whatever is happening. Because like I had to pay a cemetery person
Yes.
to open that grave for my mother.
That's
It
what
was
we
somebody
did
at
too,
the,
right.
so I had to pay a fee for that person to go out and open the grave so we could put her urn there.
Yeah.
We don't do that as a city. That's done by the private people that run the funeral homes.
Well, now, in that instance, now with those urns, you do that yourself.
Right, but I'm saying in our cemetery, we have nothing to do with opening up the graves. That is done by the funeral home.
Right.
Okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, sometimes it is. Because we dug my mother's ourselves. Only because,
Yeah, we know that situation.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but y'all went through the.
Yeah,
funeral,
exactly.
let them know.
Exactly. Right. That I can handle. But
So
I
next
just
time
could
somebody
not
asks you
handle
about the old
dig the
part-
jail and dig a hole.
No, they can't do that. Yeah, they need to call me or Miss Betty or somebody know what's going on out there. In the old part. Now, the new part.
Yeah, in the old part.
We don't have nothing to do with the new part. The city having to.
That should be clarified in our ordinance. Who digs- And who the point person is to figure
The
where the
supervisor.
graves. Who that supervisor? Are you the supervisor?
Of the old section.
Okay.
Not the new.
Okay, that's good to know.
Okay.
Well, anybody that knows the cemetery, I put it that way.
I think that we should absolutely have this ordinance updated. I'll make a motion that we update this ordinance. I was only 9 when it was written,
I
so.
second that motion.
Well, Bob and I have been married only 2 years when this was made. That's helpful. That's a long time ago.
I was going to say here, too, on the motion that's before us, if anybody would like to make a motion that makes any suggestions as far as what they would like to have in this thing, that would be, as opposed to having the city attorney come back with, well, it sounds like Jenny has already volunteered.
Jenny probably has more information about the
Yes.
reality of the problems and the issues.
Okay. So maybe.
And then Mr. Williams, Commissioner Williams is the supervisor, so I would definitely check with him as you're creating the ordinance.
Okay. Based on I think the motion then is just fine as is.
Okay.
What was the motion?
I made a motion that we have them update this ordinance, and she seconded it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that they update the ordinance for the High Springs Cemetery. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It's passed 5-0. Review of October and November 2018 financial statements.
I don't see any problem in there. It's only 2 months so far. Usually when it gets to about 4 months, then you start noticing if there's any problem. So far there isn't. We're still paying all our bills and our contractors.
Yeah.
That's good.
I signed some checks today.
Yeah, that was
I have a couple of questions. I'm sorry, I didn't have a chance to come and see you. I'm sorry. I do have just a couple of questions. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to get over. I don't know if this is just an accounting thing. It looks like workman's comp went up across the board in many departments, or is it that you pay it a couple months ahead or something? Okay, all right, so that was one of my questions. Then, let's see here. Repairs and maintenance Civic Center, we're at a substantial amount above. We're only a couple months into the year and we've spent $8,902.
Yeah, I think that, oh, there you are.
He snuck in.
Yeah, he did.
Good timing, good timing.
It's been
How
here
you
a
doing?
while.
That's the facilities budget, and that was for the cleaning of the air conditioning units and the AC units.
Okay, so this isn't just Civic Center then,
No,
this
it's
is
now
Old School
facility.
Center.
Yeah, it's now facilities, so it's Civic Center and Old School.
Remember when we budgeted, and I got to fix that title for it. We took all of Robert's buildings because we only had Civic Center when in fact he has like clean up with the old school and all the stuff that happened there. So now it's just facilities, so I will change the name.
How much did that cost? Curious.
Almost most of that. I don't know it off the top of my head, but most
It's
of
like,
that. It was,
right now it's 8902 on this budget.
Yeah, so basically we cleaned the units, and The Santa Fe room had 2 large units in there. One of the 3 units needed to be replaced, so we replaced one with a smaller unit.
Okay.
And then put a smaller unit and a large unit in the Santa Fe room, so that way it helped with the humidity control.
Should that go under a capital versus a repair?
That was the repair, yeah.
Okay.
The new one went under that. Yeah.
Okay. And so what happens if he needs repairs the rest of the year? We're going to have to do, okay. 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 And let's see. Repairs and maintenance, police department 2, there was a big one. 12,015 versus the 500 annual budget. What was that one? Do you know? Thank you. And roads and streets, they had repairs and maintenance, equipment, roads and streets, 3,000 annual budget, and year-to-date actuals already at 4,014.
I think they were buying sacks of that material that we filled the potholes with.
Okay.
And so we've had a lot of potholes.
That would be under street maintenance, though. This is under equipment. This is under equipment. Repairs and maintenance. Okay. 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 It says repairs and maintenance equipment, roads and streets, and it's annual budget 3,000, year to date already 4,014.60. And then that one for the police department, and sorry, and then under CRA professional services for CRA, we have an annual budget of 5,000, and we've year-to-date actual 9958.59.
No, the professional service? Yeah, that was when you, oh, the attorney.
Attorney what? Attorney's fees for the year?
Yeah, it was something that they did in the first July, but we didn't come and go.
Okay, that's going to hurt us with the county piece.
I understand
Okay.
that, but we had already audited our
Okay.
We're doing that.
Okay. And then repairs and maintenance, CRA, we're at 4468.15, and we had a 5,000 annual budget. So what was that? Repairs and maintenance. CRA. It doesn't say building, it just says repairs and maintenance. The building is another line item, but this year to date 4463.15. Thank you. I'm sorry again, I didn't have time to get over and see you.
Is that all?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
And number 7 is the Civic Center restroom building. Where'd he go?
Right
oh, there he is.
Got
Hey, how's it going again?
We're doing great.
So yeah, this is just basically to select the bid for the outdoor restrooms at the Civic Center Park and replace the old ones.
This is the Wild Spaces money.
It's the last leg of our match grant with the county. And some Wild Spaces money, but yeah.
So we don't have any bid amounts or anything? You're just bringing us contractors that you want us to consider?
Oh no, we do have bid amounts. So 7 contractors bid on it. Me and Bill looked at them, and we came to a recommendation of Busby.
Or how much?
177. Do you have the tabulations with you? 177.
Mayor, I'll come help you.
There you go, with the text.
We received 7 bids, 3 of which we could not accept because they didn't submit the proper documentation that is required by the state of Florida. So that put it out. I think 2 of the bids came in at gold dollars, real gold dollars. So got to put that out. 2 of them came in very competitive. We looked at them. Actually, one of them came in that was extremely low. We contacted the contractor, and he left out a fairly large chunk of that. And we did talk to him, and I said, look, we can give you an opportunity to let us know. He left out the electrical, what he did. We'll give you an opportunity to submit something to us we can look at. Well, he did. And when he did, the bids came in very close. And it was Robert's decision who he wanted to use. My capacity is just as a construction consultant to him. But the contractor that he has chosen is local. He's done many projects for you guys. His pricing was very good. I'm happy. I've worked with him a lot. I'm happy with him. I've worked with 5 I've worked with 5 of the 7. They're all good, but his work's good. So, any
Do you
questions?
have a number?
Huh? Oh,
Number.
174? Was it?
Yeah.
174.
With the deduction, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
174.
So it's 1.
That's what he came in. The highest came in at.
The county, that we're going over on our 350, and we'll pay the difference. But the county would pay, I think, 40% of it or 38% of it.
How large is the structure? Do you have an idea?
28 by 28, right?
Yeah, it's 28 by 28. It's obviously 2 restrooms, men and women. It has it's a good design. It has a center aisle between the girls and boys room, which makes maintenance real easy. We get the plumbing and light, and some of it can be used for storage too. And it has a storage room in it too. So it was a good design. It came out really well. We were over at the park yesterday. Yeah, yesterday, and picked a final site. It's going to be
Where's it going to be?
In the park.
Probably.
In the park.
You know where the current one is?
Yeah.
100 feet south.
Okay, and
Where
this bid.
the end of the fence?
Yeah.
Right in there.
And this bid includes demolishing that old structure, that old
all the
concrete
bids
block
included
structure.
demo,
Okay.
removal of the old structure, expansive soil abatement if we ran into any, kind of standard language of what we did.
And it's how much? 174,000? 174,000.
Yeah. Yeah, you're removing the old structure, you're building a block stucco structure. It's today's dollars.
It's not, yeah, I know.
It is what it is,
It's wild space is money, so it doesn't come out at the
Yeah.
What's the timeline, Robert, for him to do this?
So we put in the bid 90 days.
Okay.
Put a little pressure on the attorneys. We would have to start by January 31st to get it done in time to get the payment out for our April 30th date from the county.
Because it looks like then it'd be about 104,000 of our wild spaces money, and the balance of the about 70 approximately would be coming from the county. Does that sound right?
I believe so. I don't have the numbers right in front of me. But yeah, we just finished the bleachers, the Memorial Park playground, and then this. And we did go over, but I'm not sure if it's 100,000.
Okay.
I can give you that exact number tomorrow, or if I had the Excel sheet on that.
Is there any further discussion or questions?
No, I know, me too.
I'm sorry, what?
Building.
I'll make a motion that we accept the bid from Busby Incorporated for the construction down at Civic Center.
As recommended by staff.
And direct the city attorney to draft up a contract.
Yeah, that too.
Within 2 weeks. How quick can you do that? Because we're really on a timeline here.
Well, I heard you said January 31st.
Actually, we need that contract tomorrow by noon to be good. No, with the bidding process and what we went through with this restroom before, we're trying to put things together. It put us back a little bit. But we need that contract as soon as we can get it to get construction started. Right.
Well,
Because
ideally,
we have a timeline, but we also have rain days and other things to consider.
So ideally, we would have it approved by the commission. I think the next meeting is on the 24th, unless we did a special.
I thought we were approving it tonight. Are you going to be approving a
We
contract?
can't approve a contract that
Right.
Right. Yeah, well, that's fine. If you can do that, then that's what I'm asking. Can you please do that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
12 noon tomorrow, absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
Will that be enough time, or do you need us to
No.
look at it prior to that?
No, we'll, if we can get construction started, usually on the 24th on the, we get out here at 9:30, about 10 o'clock at night, it'll be fine.
Because you can tell them we did approval.
No, I won't, no. We'll not let anybody start until we get.
No,
the
I know you
contract
can't
in
start.
hand. But, it's a tight timeline on, even though it's a small building, it's a tight timeline to do it. And the way the construction process will probably go, the new building will go up and then the old building will go down. We're gonna put our time to the new building instead of the old building.
Yeah, you have to consider that. It's not just the new building going up, it's the old.
Right.
I know they got to part off all that stuff.
Still can't see it.
I'll second your motion.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the Busby Inc. for $174,000 to build a new restroom facility at the Civic Center. All those in favor say aye. And the attorney as well.
Authorize the attorney to write
Do
the
his
contract.
thing, right. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes 5-0. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, and again, your building department will monitor this project.
You're what? Am I
We
what?
will monitor this project closely.
Yes, you will.
I hear you.
Get him, Byron.
Okay, city attorney report.
I would just like to once again reintroduce Andrea True, who's over there by Jennifer tonight. She was, I believe, at our last meeting, but I'm not sure if everybody here in the room got a chance to meet Andrea, but she joined our firm still less than a month ago. 1 month ago today, and she's a great addition to our team. She brings a lot of experience to our firm. She had her own practice in Gainesville and joined us, and we're fortunate to have her. Very talented attorney who I'm sure will get a chance to work with a lot of folks here. So always feel free to call Andrea at Folds & Walker instead of Rich or Scott.
Right. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, city manager.
I made an offer with the county to take all money from the wild space that weren't executed by the other cities, and trust me, there's millions. And Robert can execute all the millions I can get. The council will receive a advertisement the next meeting for a city manager. You'll look at it, make any changes you would like to, and then the first part of February we'll go out and advertise it for about 6 weeks. That's the normal sometimes 2 months is, and then we'll get in thousands of residents.
Yes.
Yes. Had an inspection group visit us here at Tuesday from the Swanee River Water Management District. They're impressed. They're ready to go forward with the sewer plant expansion. They would like us, they like the idea that we're spending money, because there are many cities that get grants and don't spend it. And so they would like us to push, and of course Midtower was here, and I think we can do 2 major projects for the next 3 years on their time frame. And that is somewhere around $12 to $15 million. And so you will get most of the houses on sewer system and off of septic in this city. And that's one of their major objectives, and we're helping them do it. The wetlands project is going to go out for bid this month, and it'll probably go in sometime at the end of February. We'll start working on that. So those will be the 2 major projects we go at the same time. And then when one goes out, the sewer expansion will happen, and then the next guy will be very, very big. On the second meeting of this month, the county will be here to make you a presentation, and what they're looking for is for you to identify the county for any environmental problems that the rails to trails might have. What the railroad is saying is they will take the responsibility. They also keep the title, so they will take the responsibility of any kind of environmental problems. And the truth is, we don't have any groundwater problems because they're all on city water. So there's, if there happens to be one that we miss, and there is on 13th Street, the old 13th Street, I have no idea what it's called now. She is, and she's been here before, she has a trailer there. We'll go ahead and hook her up, but right now, she tested absolutely clean. So that's not a problem, and as you know from everything else, that project is certainly to go. The projects that we have out there is about 60% complete. At the end of February, they'll put the lift station in operation. At that time, they'll start hooking up the homes. We have a process to go by, have David identify the homes that we hook up, and then of course finance will take it and put it on their bill, because they already have accounts. So, and that's it.
I already said no, thanks.
Gloria?
Okay. I want to say thanks to Mr. Booth for taking care of that memo about the lady in the levee out there.
Yes, ma'am.
I appreciate that very much. And if you remember when you guys had your training for your ethics, I did not go because I told you I was going to go to my first MTPO meeting. I went.
Okay. What happened?
But I was the only one in there that was not tied into one of the Department of Transportation projects. I'm sitting up in this room by myself.
Really?
Yeah, everybody else there were tied into one of the projects, because you had Department of Transportation from state and also local, and they had a lot of representatives there to talk about their specific project that they were assigned to. Gloria don't know anything about any project, but Gloria was there. So I fulfill my obligation, and I don't. The next one's in February sometime.
And will you be sitting in a room by yourself?
I probably will.
Did they feed you?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he wanted to know who I was and why I was there, and I explained.
I'd go with hashtag me too. I mean, I'm sorry,
Also, the kitchen over in the Civic Center,
yes, ma'am.
I've got several calls about the uncleanliness of that kitchen.
Robert is, he's listening.
He's listening? Okay, because several calls I've gotten concerning the uncleanliness of that kitchen area over there when they go in to use it over the weekend. So we need to look a little more closely at how we are handling that situation. Because a lot of them says, if you intend to use it, you better go out there earlier so you can clean it yourself. And in addition, I understand there's a mice problem too.
Got it.
Okay, got it. And now some good news. Yeah, some good news this time. The chamber is having their annual banquet on January the 25th. We're going to start at 6 o'clock and we're going to be over at the Women's Club. Tickets are on sale at this time and they are $20 each. So we would love to have you all get a ticket and come out and join us.
The 25th?
25th of January. And last but not least, thanks so much for taking a look at that graveyard on you. Okay, I'm done.
I'm not gonna try to top that. Byron?
I think I've ever heard that.
I can't go against the grave, man.
We all gotta go that way one of these days.
I know.
Sure as you born like a woman.
Yeah.
Another thing, the lights was out, Robert. It was dim at the Civic Center this past weekend. You fixed them? Huh? The whole front row was dim. Another thing is some potholes out there in Patricia's Drive. So when they put that stuff in, it pack it as soon as the rain begins, it just wash it up.
Well, the new stuff we're putting in is better. I mean, it's not as good as asphalt, but it's better. Yeah.
As soon as the rain.
We've had a lot of rain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing, how things coming with Railroad Avenue, the chips?
That's going good, except for the truck. I'm having a problem with the concrete plant taking their trucks around there. And we had a discussion, and I brought the police over there. They had a discussion, and I brought the building official. I am going to put barriers there to keep them from doing that unless they participate in reinforcing occupancy.
Are we gonna put signs up there, no trucks?
We already did.
We did. I'm speeding.
Yeah, they're,
And that's, I tried to explain to one of the ladies live out there, so it's gonna become a bypass now.
it is.
People want to speed. Oh, so much traffic on the road now.
It's very, very handy.
Yeah.
Oh, I've used it.
Me too.
Well, we do.
Yeah, I know.
Those of us in Edgewater, particularly.
It really bothered me about the trucks on them.
Yeah, that don't.
I know, and they just blew me off till I called the police and called the building official, and I was about to have barriers put on there. I mean, I was kind of hot, so I still am because they're already starting to do damage.
Yeah.
And they could care
You
less.
can tell the difference.
I know, and if
when
we
you hit that.
continue, I'm going to get madder and madder and go out there.
So they use that area before it got paved, or they used to
No.
go off 27?
No, they went on 441. Once we paved it, they're starting to use the other. It's only taken them a week before they have done damage.
Oh, and I have nothing tonight. So, except to thank everyone for coming out. I appreciate it.